we all know that Melo got his game is is way beyond it just in a spot up
Yeah. Reggie
3-point
Jackson
shooter.
said that they should be playing through Melo.
Thank you. So and I don't see why Frank Vogel and why it takes him to so long to get that.
Wait, I think I just say Reggie Jackson?
Yeah, you did say Reggie Jackson.
I say fucking A. I meant off to a good start. I meant Mark Jackson. Holy shit.
Mark Jackson, right? So most of the
I knew what you
most
meant.
of the Nelsons
I was
know.
waiting for you to correct yourself.
My bad. Holy shit, that was bad.
I just don't think he has it anymore.
Should any team want Carmelo Anthony?
Blasphemous.
Yes, sir, Carmelo.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Control the Narrative, a podcast where we control the narrative that the media creates. If you're new around here, subscribe to catch our weekly podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And if you're a returner, a subscriber, or better yet, a Control the Narrative member, like these two gentlemen are today, we appreciate you a little more, if I'm being honest with you. Episode 90. By the way, I feel like that was one of the best intros I've had in a minute. I just got a fresh cut. We have Knicks, Lakers tomorrow night. We're recording this Monday night, so by the time everyone hears this, listens to it, watches it, it's going to be Wednesday or Thursday, Friday, whatever. So the game will have already happened, but still excited. Got my New York 7 jersey. People are like, yo, you wearing a Lakers jersey, or like, what are you doing? I would never disrespect the Knicks like that because the Knicks are my favorite team. But I am going to wear the number 7 for Melo's return. Just got announced about 2-3 hours ago that LeBron has been suspended for the first time in his career. He's been suspended for a game for what happened between him and Isaiah Stewart. So I guess we'll get into that a little bit. But anyway, want to introduce our two guests for tonight. Top right, we got Adam, a new controller, just signed up to become the top tier of controller. So get used to his face, get used to his voice. We're going to be seeing and hearing from him a lot more moving forward. Adam, welcome to the show, bro.
Appreciate that.
Of course, bro. And then we got Elmac. You probably seen
Back in the building.
him. It's been a minute. We were just saying before, but happy to have him back. Always good convo, good talk with him. So Elmac, welcome back to the show, bro.
Salute.
Nice
Glad to be back.
Fire ass hoodie for anybody not watching. For people who are listening, go check the YouTube video. Go peep what Elmac's rocking. So appreciate you both for taking some time out, as always, to come on and just shoot the shit with me. So let's get into it, man. Adam, we can start with you on this one. LeBron returned. I think he's played either 2 or 3 games. I think 2. Yeah, because Boston and then Detroit. So he's really 1.5.
Yep.
How much do you think LeBron's return has helped Melo, if at all?
Yeah. So help Melo. It has helped Melo. I think it's still the same. As far as his shots attempt, him coming to the game.
Adam,
LeBron coming back. I guess it's big for the team, but it's. So yeah, I think his effect coming back. It's no effect for Melo. I think Melo still has whether it's Braun on the court, it doesn't matter. Westbrook on the court, Melo still has the same exact results. He gets hot, he's still not getting the ball enough, and I don't get why he doesn't get the ball enough. But Braun effect still doesn't matter when he's there. Maybe for the team, perspective, but not for Melo at all. It's still the same thing every single game. Of course I know what's going on, but I don't get why the team doesn't see what everybody else sees. He's still effective. He can score the ball whenever. He should get as many touches as sometimes as the so-called stars on the team. I can tell you this. I don't know how many games exactly have the Lakers played, but if you take Melo out them games, they're most of them games they're losing.
Yeah.
So regardless of, even though he doesn't still get the ball enough, they're losing those games, and I don't see why that. I don't see what's the problem with like Melo getting the shine in some of these games when it's Melo is one of the main reasons why this team has won as many games as they have, and even on some of the losses. But you know, I just don't get why Melo can't be a prime player for the Lakers, and that's what I'm tired of that.
Yeah. And yo, to your point, like the Lakers, one of the main things they needed after last season was shooting, and they signed Melo, and Melo's, I think right now he's shooting 46% from three,
Right.
and nobody else on the team is shooting even 40. So to your point, if they need shooting, and let's be fair, Melo's taking how many threes a game? Melo's taking 6.4 threes a game. So it's not like he's not really getting threes, but those are pretty much the majority of his shots. So he's shooting 6.4 times from three, 11.2 times, which is less than last year in Portland. So he could definitely be used more. A quick follow-up to you, Adam. Do you think that you said that it doesn't matter who's on the court, LeBron or Westbrook? Do you think there's any difference when when Melo plays with LeBron versus when Melo plays with Westbrook?
Maybe I'm gonna say this. Maybe a slight difference. I think when Bron's on the court, he's actually a point guard, so he sees the floor better than Westbrook. So he may find Melo maybe one or two more times than Westbrook will. But I think Bron still has that mentality where, I'm still the guy. So it still falls in the same category for me as like they still play with him. Westbrook, Bron still kind of had that. For me, it's like a selfish mentality, especially when Melo's cooking. I feel, because I think Melo can do way more than spot up shoot. I don't get why they're making him a spot up shooter. He literally gets in the game and sits in the corner. Like he sits in the corner, he waits for the ball, open or not. Like I see it every single game. And I think the last game, I think one of the announcers were like, why they want to go back to the post for Melo. We all know that Melo got his game is way beyond it just in a spot up
Reggie
3-point
Jackson
shooter.
said that they should be playing through Melo.
Thank you. So, and I don't see why Frank Vogel and why it takes him to, so long to get that,
Wait, I think did I just say Reggie Jackson?
Yeah, you did say Reggie Jackson.
Fucking A. I meant off to a good start. I meant Mark Jackson. Holy shit.
Mark Jackson. Right. So
I knew what you meant. I was waiting for you to correct yourself.
Holy shit, that was bad. My bad.
So it's like they know most of the people that's been in the NBA, they know what to do, but why do the coaches doesn't, like, why does the team know? And Melo, he's just playing his role, but Melo know damn well that he's, he could be touching the ball, he could be shooting the ball way more than they give him a chance to.
Yep. Fair enough. Mac, what do you think? You agree with Reggie Jackson that they should be running it through Melo more? Or what?
Sure, Reggie Jackson. All right, he knows everything about basketball. So, hey, I would tell you that, from my perspective, LeBron being on the court, you would hope Melo gets a few more touches more. The challenge with the team right now is they don't have enough chemistry right now. The sample sizes right now is so small with who should have the ball, when should they have the ball, what's the rotation. Melo's kind of fit in, and as they've struggled to find things out, they've brought Melo in, and Melo's taking shots, and Melo is making shots. Why they don't feed him when, the game is, kind of, swinging in his favor, I don't know yet. I don't know if that's stubbornness. I don't know if that's an ego. There's a lot of things that kind of still have to be digested with these things. We got, 3 perennial all-star type players beyond Melo that are on this team. So I think some things are going to have to figure itself out. when I think you think about LeBron, though, you would hope that LeBron would be able to distribute more ball in LeBron's hands means less in Westbrook hands, less of a chance that we're turning it over, because that's been a huge issue with Russ. And I love Russ. Don't get me wrong, but I think that's what we hope to see moving forward. But they still got a lot to work out on this team in terms of rotation. So. Well, the truth will be out to probably, give us 30, 40 games and we'll see where we're at. LeBron's now, suspended now. So it'll be interesting what dynamic they go back to. They played so much without LeBron already this season. Yeah, it hasn't really sunk in and let them get into a rhythm. So some time is going to need to be played. But I think in the interim, like was already said, why do they not defer to LeBron? Now there's only 3 guys that are really making, are serious scoring threats. I'm not sure why they don't go to Melo enough, because from what he's producing, Steve, we talked about it early in the season, like he is producing way above the majority of people's expectation. So we should be feeding him right now. 46 from 3 and no one else is shooting 40. That's a big stat line right there. So, and again, as it was already mentioned as well, they would be in serious trouble if Carmelo was not on the team, because they probably at least would have lost 5 or 6 more games without his hot shooting to kind of carry them through, either in crunch time or when they had no other viable options on offense. So,
yeah, I agree with both of you. I think it almost feels like same shit, different year, where
kind of.
Every single year, OKC. Like I remember, I think I brought this up in one of the more recent podcasts, but there was a game in Philly that I think it went into overtime or double overtime when Melo was in OKC, and Melo was like on fire. I think he was like 8 of 11 from the field or like some crazy shit like that. And they played either 1 or 2 overtimes, and the next night they played an MSG. It was Melo's first time back, but the fact that like this guy can shoot such a high percentage. And they forget running the offense through him for a second. Just find ways to get him shots, whether that's screening off the ball, whether that's pick and roll with him and AD, just whatever. Just find ways to get him shots. And I have seen, I'll give the Lakers and Vogel this credit, where I have seen them run some plays for him to get him open, and it doesn't happen nearly as much as we all would like, obviously. But I never saw Portland run a play from Melo except the one play where him and CJ, he would set a pick for CJ's guy and then they would get the mismatch. And is that really a play for him versus him coming off a screen or back screening or whatever the case is? So in terms of LeBron, I think Elmac, you hit it on the head where it's when the ball's in LeBron's hands, it's not in Westbrook's hands. And that's all I care about. This dude he's been better lately with these turnovers, but with averaging over 5 turnovers a game. At one point, the Lakers were one of the worst teams in the league in terms of turnovers. So as long as the ball's not in his hands, I'm kind of cool. And especially because it seems and people say it, people comment on our Instagram, on Twitter, in our Discord and shit, where it's Westbrook, it almost seems like he intentionally looks Melo off for whatever reason. And because they're cool, they're friends, so I don't understand why it feels like that happens. But anyway, kind of a topic for a different day. So that's my thoughts on it. I think LeBron does help Melo strictly because the ball's not in Westbrook's hands. And my brother is a diehard LeBron fan, and all 17 years and counting, we've been fighting about Melo versus LeBron. I haven't won many arguments, but and he's like, oh, LeBron makes people better. And with this team, I think he makes people better just because Westbrook is the primary ball handler. It's either him or Rondo. And I just like LeBron with Russ and then a little Rondo more than a lot of Russ and a little Rondo. So that's my thoughts on it. I just think that he's obviously a very high IQ player. Him and Melo seem to play well together. I said it on Twitter where I was like, I feel like the 2 duos that we're starting to see emerge, and I could be wrong in terms of how they play well together, is Melo and LeBron and then Russ and AD. I just feel like that's how it is. I feel like Melo and AD don't really play too well off of each other.
No.
I feel like Melo and LeBron do, and then I feel like Russ and AD, for whatever reason, I feel like they play well. They play well together.
You saw some good chemistry after the ejection yesterday in AD and Russ. You know, Russ, finding AD after call it the double block, and that was kind of a huge momentum. It was wild. So, yeah, they got something together. So I don't know how do they make the pieces work, because you can't play two at a time. Well, maybe you can do it in the regular season, but playoff time, you'd want all four of the guys on the floor. So how does it work?
Yeah, let's get a little bit more into the shot attempts and things like that. So, Elmac, we'll start with you on this one. Yo, real quick, sorry to interrupt if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, but just wanted to let you know that we have merch at Control the Narrative, and it's pretty fire, in my opinion. This is the Pixel Melo t-shirt that I'm rocking. Anything from Cuse Melo to New York Melo, Hoodie Melo. On this shirt, we got Scapegoat merch, we got Blackball merch, we got just regular Control merch. Shop CTRL the Narrative.com. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, beanies, stickers. Shop CTRL the Narrative.com. I think I got my point across. Go check it out. I bet you'll find something you like. Appreciate the support as well. Obviously, the merch sales help us fund these podcast episodes that we get to record every single week. So appreciate you, and back to the show. I feel like there's a clear pecking order on this team, and I want to know where you think Melo ranks on that pecking order. And by pecking order, I mean, is he more of a primary option than Russ or Malik Monk or THT? So what are your thoughts on the Lakers pecking order, and do you think it should change?
Well, I think for sure that the way that it stands now, when everyone's healthy and no one's suspended, he's like the fourth option. And I think in reality, based on scoring and based on, what the team needs and how it stretches the floor for the team in general, he should be the third option. Like, I'm not going to say that LeBron should not be option one or option two, and then AD falls. Like, I think he should be an option because of efficiency more so than Russ should be. I think when you look at what he's done already this year, and again, like, he's far surpassed already as in this early part of the season the expectation of how well he'd score. I think if he can stay on this clip and stay healthy, we won't be talking too much longer about the 8th spot on the all-time scoring list. I thought he'd be it would take him a long time to find his way, and I thought for sure he was going to get lost. It's a pleasant surprise to me that he has gotten touches, but more importantly, like, you can see that the work he's put in year after year, even with the season that he's been gone, and he's making what he's getting, to be shooting 46 from three, far better than anyone else on the team. It's only going to lead to his longevity in the league. And as we start to knock down walls, and we got to 10 last year, we got to 9 earlier in this season, and now we're chasing Shaq and at number 8. It's unbelievable, his capability. And we still didn't even run any plays from in 2-ball world. We only run it, beyond the 3-point line. So there's something to be said on how long he can continue to play at shooting at this rate.
Great point. Adam, what do you think? What do you think of the team's pecking order right now?
For me, second, third option, like, hands down, like, Melo should be a vocal point in the offense. Starting or coming off the bench. Like, when Melo comes in the game, he should have set plays. He should have the amount of shots. Make a miss, because they only get mad when he miss, right? People only get mad when he miss. When he make it, everybody loves him, So, but like, he should have a set amount of shots every single game. Second, third option doesn't too much matter to me, but we should see a set amount of shots for Melo, and he should be involved in offense more because it's going to help the team. It's not gonna like not help the team. It's It's going to help the team if they involved him more in the offense. And I'm sure he feels better. He's going to have more confidence if he's involved more in the offense. I think when he goes out there like, I may touch the ball, I think Melo has his mentality where when he's out there, I can see it because sometimes Melo will rush a shot. He hasn't touched the ball so long. He'll rush a shot, and I see that, and I don't blame Melo for that. But when he misses, it's a problem. But he rushed a shot because he does not touch the ball. He does not touch the ball because he does not have set plays. It's only when the teammate in trouble and they kick it out. It's like, I see this. I see this every single game. If they get Melo more involved, if they actually, what do you bring him for? Like, you brought him in there for the score. He can help the team. You brought him in there to score, so use him. They're not using him to his full strength, I believe. Maybe they may figure it out. I don't know. But if you look at these past games and scoring wise and defensively wise too, like Melo's not a slack on defense, I believe.
Especially last night. You saw that 2 blocks.
Especially last night.
Huge.
Especially last night. Do they watch film? I mean, does this team watch film? Let's look at this. Like, he's 37, but he's not a slack on defense compared to some of the players on the team. He actually tries out there. He's more viable with offense, but he's not a slack on defense. So I see sometimes, I see most throughout the games they have him in critical times. When the team does need stops, Melo's out there on defense. So just make him more important. I feel if they make him more important on his team, this team can turn around and be, maybe get in that top 5. I don't see it right now as far as like them getting in the number 1, number 2, number 3 spot. It's gonna be hard.
Good.
It's gonna be hard. It's definitely hard right now, but they can get back on that. Maybe a playoff route towards a championship goal if they really value Melo more. And I know it's hard to say for some people, but it's the truth. Melo is still a bucket. he's still a bucket. He can turn it on anytime. He can be 0 for 4. He can come back and hit 5 straight. That's him. They know that. We know that. It's just they got to do it. So, and it's more shots. They have to get him. They have to make him more involved in the offense, and that's as simple as it gets.
Yeah, to back both of you up right now, this is where I was going with this, because with the whole pecking order, like, we know LeBron's going to be probably option 1B. We know AD is probably the number 1 option on the team. We know Westbrook is probably number 3. And like you both said, Melo should be number 4. Like, when you look at THT, and also real quick, shout out Heather, because when you brought up defense, people are like, oh, Melo's not a good defender and all this shit. For the 3-and-D guys that they signed, like Wayne Ellington, Kent Bazemore, Melo's arguably playing better defense than them. And he's shooting 40% from the 3. Yeah. So, like, topic for a different day, but let's start this 3-and-D Melo convo pretty soon. So the reason I brought this question up was because THT returned. And since THT returned, he's been taking 14 shots a game. Right?
That's wild.
So since THT returned, THT has been averaging 14. Melo's been averaging 8.2. 6 less shots a game. And, some people would think, all right, well, is THT more consistent? Is he playing better? THT shooting 41% from the field, and Melo shooting 51%. In the same 5 games since THT returned, THT is shooting 34.8% from 3. Melo shooting 44.4%. So, like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, why are they running the offense through THT? Why is THT getting more looks? A considerable amount. It's not like this is 1, 2, even. It's almost double the amount of shots Melo's getting. and he's nowhere near. Sorry, not gonna say he's nowhere near, but Melo has considerably better shooting percentages. So I just don't understand these things. Like, if THT is hot one night, fine. If Malik Monk is hot one night, fine. But then my kind of rebuttal to that is Melo gets hot and he still isn't like, all right, fuck it, yo, let's get him the ball. When Malik Monk's hot, I feel like they're like, yo, let's get him a shot. When THT's hot, yo, let's get him a shot. Why can't they do that with Melo? I don't understand it. And I get it. I'm not saying Melo should have more shot attempts than LeBron or AD or Russell, even though deep down I do wish that, but I'm not saying that that's a reality in 2021 entering 2022 because of that narrative of Melo's in year 19. Like, you have to understand, look at his shooting percentages and look what he's able to do. That's what I just don't understand.
Yeah, my thing is on that. Why when you said about Monk, why can't Melo create a shot? Like, why why is it so hard for Melo to create his own shot? Like, I see it when I see Monk sometimes. He'll be in his mode where he comes down and overlook everybody and take a bad shot. THT does it all the time. He take his shots.
All the time.
Why Melo can't get the ball, hold the ball, or whatever he gonna do when he create his own shot? Like, I see
why?
when
Because they're
Melo gets
not
the
ninth
ball.
on the all-time scoring list. That's why. They're trying to force their way into the rotation, and Vogel's allowing it to happen. That's the thing.
Exactly.
They're really trying to because THT has been inconsistent and injured. They're trying to get him up to speed, and it's coming, unfortunately, at the sacrifice of Carmelo. But it's also doing it that way. It's coming at the sacrifice of the team's success. That's just me.
That's a great way to put it. And then also another thing that some people are saying in the Discord, and I've seen it once or twice on Twitter, is like the Lakers are playing and allocating shots and giving people playing time, not based on performance, but on contracts. Like, they just re-signed THT, 2 years, $20 million. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And Melo's getting the veterans minimum.
Yep. So
for them to be like, yo, Melo needs more shots than THT, then it's like, damn, we're paying this guy $10 million a year, and we got Melo doing this shit for $3 million or 2.6, whatever the fuck it is. It's like Westbrook making $40 million, right? So they're like, he's got to be a major part of that.
$40 million worth of shots.
Exactly. It's like, yo, we got to get our money's worth. So like, but it's not really benefiting the team. So we spoke about the Russell thing a few episodes ago, where it was like, people like trade him or bench him and all those things. But I just think if he's more selective and just picks his spots better, he could still be efficient. Anyway, topic for another day. So the next question that I wanted to get to is about the Lakers team as a whole. It's a bunch of veteran guys. A lot have accomplished a lot in their career. LeBron, AD, and Dwight and Rondo won that championship 2 years ago. Last year. It feels like 2 years. It was 2 seasons ago, but last year in the bubble. You have Russ, who obviously triple-double king, MVP, all these things. Adam, we'll start with you on this one. Do you think, and again, just a question for everybody who's, I feel like, can comment and say all this shit. Do you think that this Lakers team is hungry enough?
At times. Last night I did. Well, that
Great point.
the game that when LeBron got ejected, yeah, I feel like they was hungry. And you know who led them? Melo. Melo
and Russ.
And Russ, yeah.
Russ.
And so I look at that, and Melo did talk about I don't know if you guys heard the interview. He was like, they needed that. They needed that altercation, even though it happened. Look, LeBron got ejected, but they needed that to spark them. When you're getting beat by one of the freaking worst teams in the league, you need some type of spark to spark out. Like, come on now, come on, bro. Like, what we doing?
But do you think that's an issue? Do you think that's an issue that they needed a spark?
Yes, most definitely it's an issue. It's a chemistry issue. I still believe. I don't think the chemistry there. I really don't. I think they all of them know what they want to do, but it's definitely still a chemistry issue. It's a rotation issue. Uh, we don't know who's we. Of course, everybody may think, okay, yeah, LeBron first option, AD second option, Russ maybe a third option. Like we don't know because when Bron came back, to be honest, I rarely seen Russ. He didn't have the ball at all. You like he was in the corner like Melo,
Yeah,
you
he
know.
was.
So with this team, once this team get a identity, you know, for who they really are. I mean, they the Lakers, but you know, once they find out like, okay, this is what we're gonna do every night. They got a game plan every night. I
Yeah.
feel like they don't have no game plans when they
Yeah.
come in these games. So I think it's a big chemistry issue, and it's hitting them. That's why LeBron got frustrated. LeBron was frustrated, you know. So once they get that chemistry issue, I think that this team will be better, and they get that chemistry issue down, and it's going the team may turn around, but right now they don't look up to par, and everybody sees it.
Yeah.
So the big issue for me, I definitely think it's the chemistry and rotation, and you know who's the man, who's going to be the man this day, and who's going to be the man that day. If they have a game plan every single game, especially for weak teams, like I know they're older and they playing younger teams, but they should be still blowing their ass out. Like doesn't matter, you know. So it should not take a scuffle to fire up a supposed to be a championship contender team. It shouldn't take that. You know, they was getting their ass kicked till that happened. So they should not be down for Detroit Pistons. You know, so
Yeah.
and that's probably what I'll have to say. Just a chemistry issue. Get that down, and I think they'll be okay.
Mac, you think it's
I got
an
big
issue of them not being
concerns.
hungry, or you think it's chemistry, or what do you think?
Well, it is chemistry because they haven't played enough together, but it's just the personalities on the team when you look at it and you see how they roll. Like
Yeah.
they are just not a hungry team overall. You know, I think you got some guys that want to compete, but I think, you know, when you look at this team, that it's a veteran team. It's like, well, we're not winning the championship in the regular season. We believe we can turn it on. But again, when you don't play all out all the time, I think you run into issues when, you know, it could be, you know, you look at some of those teams in the West, because the West is once again, it's competitive. It's Phoenix, it could be Utah, it could be Denver, and geez, like how good is Golden State looking right now? So like, are they really going to be able to turn it on and play like to their championship level to be able to beat one of these teams? And they're not going to beat one of them. They're going to have to beat two or three of them to get to the finals. So personally, I thought they were a shoe-in, and then you watch them play and they're not just destroying people with easy shots and basketball IQ. I think they I'm not saying they're in trouble because I want to give them some time, but I would have huge concerns of where this team is at now, you know, this far into the season, and really, can they turn it around, right? Like, you go look at some of the great teams, even this team 2 years or last year when they won the title in the bubble, they looked way more aggressive and way more cohesive, and, you know, they would play defense, they would get great shots, and I don't see that right now. I see they're working way too hard to get buckets right now, and again, they're just not gelling together as a unit. So it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge, however you slice it.
I agree with you, man. I think Adam dropped off. We'll get him back on here in a few seconds, but I agree. I don't think this team is hungry enough. I just feel like they're all so okay with what they've accomplished in their careers. And again, the reason I brought up Melo and Russ is because you look at those four guys of LeBron, AD, Rondo, and Dwight, all obviously huge pieces to this team. And those four guys to me just seem like they're just going through the motions a lot of the times. Anthony Davis just, if he doesn't feel like going to the hoop, he'll shoot that mid-range jumper. He hits it a lot of times. I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, that's a low percent shot. He hits that a lot of times. But when I look at those four guys compared to Melo and Russ, and I shit on Russ all the fucking time, I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, Russ is amazing, but he plays hard. And he's always played hard no matter where he is. But I think that him and Melo have an extra chip on their shoulder because they're out to prove something, and obviously because they haven't won a championship yet. And I just don't see that out of those four guys. And it's concerning because if those four are going to be major pieces to this team and, they're just coasting through that regular season, especially Elmac, like you said, I don't know if they're going to be able to flip a switch when you have the Warriors playing like they're playing. If Phoenix is as good as they were last year and that shit just wasn't a fluke, if, the Clippers get Kawhi back, it's like you can go through the entire West, Utah, obviously, like all these different teams, Denver. And I just feel like they are trying to coast through the regular season. And we came into the season saying, as long as they're healthy in the playoffs, they'll be okay. I don't know if that's the case anymore.
No.
I don't know if they just need to be healthy once the playoffs start, because I feel like the West is better than everybody was giving them credit for. So that's the one part where, again, I'm not concerned, but we're almost a quarter way through the season. So if they don't start picking shit up, and again, LeBron was out and now he came back and then he got suspended, like all these things are happening. So I just wanted to bring this up because sometimes when you look at what happened last night in Detroit, where it took, that ejection to happen for a team to be like, all right, like, let's go. And then when they were like, all right, let's go, then you saw what happened. They were down 17. They came back and they won the game. So you're not going to play like that 48 minutes, but if they could play like that for the majority of the game, and especially in the fucking third quarter, which I think they were outscored. I think they said it last night. They've been outscored by 90, which I think is the worst in the league.
Unbelievable. The Knicks might be a close second.
Third quarter tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Very, very intrigued to see.
Oh, it'll be the telling tale. It's like, who wants to show up?
Third quarter, I think, is going to win the game. But, yeah, man. So that said, I just feel like that makes me a little nervous where sometimes it feels like guys are going through the motion. And Russ and Melo aren't because they have something to prove. And again, if that switch is flipped in February or March or whatever, I just am scared that it might be too little too late, but I guess we'll see. So that's my thoughts on that. All right, last interruption, because if you're watching or listening to the podcast for this long, you probably fuck with us. And if you fuck with us, you'll probably fuck with all the perks that you get from being a Control the Narrative member, whether that's access to our invite-only Discord where we're talking basketball all the time, or opportunities to join the next episode of Control. So whenever we need a guest, I go in our Discord, I say, yo, who's free? Who wants to hop on the next episode? And I pick from there. You get 20% off merch forever. And then you also get member-exclusive merch, all by being a member. Tiers start at $2 a month. So if you fuck with us, go check out a membership, CTRLthenarrative.com. And I will see you in the Discord. All right, back to the show for good. Let's get to the last question. We're recording this, like I said, Monday night. This is coming out Wednesday night. So you're either watching, listening to this Wednesday night or Thursday or Friday, whatever. The Knicks will have already played the Lakers, and Melo would have already had his fourth, because he came with OKC and twice with Portland. So fourth time back at MSG, fourth homecoming. Do you think the Knicks should retire Melo's number? Yes or no? And we're at 37 minutes, so let's keep it to like.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief. I've been a huge Melo fan since he entered the league, even before the league, when he was at Syracuse and won a national championship in 2003. 100% they should retire his number. It would have been great. Ultimately, I think whenever he decides it's his swan song, and it would be great if he gets to do a tour like Kobe on his way out. I don't know if that will happen, but whether he may be retired or he decides to hang it up. Like, could you imagine this year if they win and he decides to retire? I don't know if that would even be the case. I think he'd keep playing. But either way you slice it, they definitely need to retire. Like, if you go back and look at the Knicks of the early 2010s, where would this team be winning 50 games, leading the NBA in three-pointers, man? Like, this was Golden State before Golden State. And I think that what the impact he's made on New York, the impact that he's made on the NBA and basketball as a conglomerate, looking at it from both college to the pros and obviously what he's done with the Olympics, he's meant so much to New York basketball. This is his home, being New York. They have to retire his number. No two ways about it. Denver's not going to do it. No. We definitely know that teams beyond that are not going to do it. It's got to be New York.
So 100%, definitely, no doubt about it.
Yeah, like, give me 110%. Like,
yeah. All right, cool. Adam, you agree?
I'm all for it. Come on now. I'm all for it.
I just had to ask, just in case.
Adam's about that life.
I don't want to corner you guys. It's like, why should they? I'm like, nah, like.
No, like, to be honest, I'm very, if anybody knows me, I'm very defensive when it comes to Melo, man. Like I became a fan of. Well, I wasn't aware of his, high school basketball until until 2000 and maybe 6, 7, around 2006, 7, 8, because I was a big Iverson fan. And I got introduced to Melo from Iverson, when he came to Denver. So, and ever since that, the stuff that was happening with Iverson, then I kind of, fell in with Melo after everything with Iverson was going on, and I became a real big diehard of Melo, like everywhere, Denver, New York, OKC, Portland. Like, I'm a diehard. I'm real defensive about Melo. So like, of course they should retire his jersey. We, like you said, Denver, he took them to conference finals. I think they should, but it's probably not gonna happen. But New York, definitely, he brought a lot to that city, and he brings a lot of energy in that room every night when they're in Madison Square Garden. So. I never been to. I've been in New York, but I never been to a game, a Knicks game. But I'm sure it was electric in that arena.
Where you live at, Adam?
I'm currently in Memphis, Tennessee.
Word.
Yeah. So, but like, I travel. I work. I'm a traveling worker, so I go everywhere.
Word.
But yeah. So. I'm sure he made a lot of people. That's why he still gets a lot of love in New York, every time when he goes out there. So, I know when Tuesday night when he touched the ball, everybody's gonna be wanting him to shoot it. It's just gonna be loud every time when he touched the ball,
Yeah.
So that city definitely loves him. There's one city I know that definitely loves him. Yeah. And definitely the damn right they should retire his jersey once Melo hang it up. And I don't know when, because he's playing, he can play up to about 2 or 3 years for me. Like, I think he's at a good level, high level. I think so right now, because he stays healthy, take care of himself.
Yeah.
So I think once he's hanging up, I'm gonna be emotional, man. Like, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough for me, because I'm not a big basketball team guy. Like, I'm a Melo guy, If anybody asks me, I'm just a Melo guy, So once he hang it up, they definitely should do that ASAP, as soon as possible, But yeah.
Respect. Obviously, I thank you both. I think everybody, if you're fucking watching, listening to this, you know how the fuck I feel about this. And to kind of build off what both of you said, especially El Mac, where it was like, what he meant to the city. Especially in a time where nobody dared to come to the Knicks. No superstar cared to come to the Knicks. If we're being honest, Amari came here because of the $100 million bag, and no other team would insure his needs. So the Knicks were just like, yo, we struck out on LeBron, Wade, Bosh, all these guys, like, fuck it, let's go get Amari. Amari was great for them that first year, but obviously we all know what happened the next few years. So for Melo to want to come here and be the only superstar this century who was at his peak, he was going into his peak. Obviously, he won the scoring title in New York. He was just in the conference finals 2 years ago with Kobe. To be a player of that caliber and be like, yo, I want to go to New York, right? That's cool enough to be like, holy shit, that's pretty dope. But then also, after they missed the playoffs that year, and he could have went to Chicago and seriously competed for a championship that year for sure. Next year, probably for a few years. And he said no because Phil Jackson convinced him to stay. And he took a less than a max deal to come home. And he trusted Phil, and he was just like, yo, I want to win one in New York. One in New York is worth multiple elsewhere. And no other superstar that I've seen in my lifetime has taken that challenge, has taken that chance, has literally put his career on the line for the Knicks franchise. And that's exactly what Melo did. And who was his agent? Leon Rose, who's now the president of the Knicks. So that's where I'm like a little optimistic, where I'm like, if anybody understands that, it's fucking Leon Rose. I'm sure Leon Rose, well, maybe not, because he would have got more money off commissions if when Melo signed in New York. But, you know, I know him and Melo were talking back in 2014 and thinking, yo, you could really compete with the Bulls right now. And he didn't do that, and he stayed. And throughout all the Phil Jackson shit, Melo remained professional. He went out there. He did his job. He stood after the games. He talked to reporters. And then even until the day before media day, where they told Melo, we're rebuilding. You know, you can stay. And he was like, yo, that was the summer where he wanted to go to Houston in 2017, and they couldn't work out a trade. And Melo's just like, fuck it, I'm going to stay, and let's rebuild. And I'll do that. 2017 was 4 years ago. So he was either 33, 34, something like that. Depends on his birthday and shit. So that's why I feel like he's the only guy that I've ever seen committed, loyal, and remained loyal to this franchise. You could talk about Julius Randle. He wasn't a superstar when he came here. You could talk about Porzingis, was the only other All-Star the last decade for the Knicks. He left the first chance he got. So all these things, and especially when KP left, I was like, now do all you motherfuckers see why it was so cool that Melo stayed, and why everyone who fucked with Melo was like, yo, this guy's staying in New York and all that shit. And then obviously we could talk about, you know, all the money he invested into New York, how he was born here, how players on the team like Julius Randle have learned from him. Players on the team like Obi Toppin said that, you know, Melo was one of his favorite players growing up, and they asked him on NBA Top Shot, if anyone's into NFTs, you know, if you could own one Knicks moment, what would it be? And Obi Toppin said Melo scoring 62 at the Garden. So
yeah, I saw that.
For him to mean that much to these players is cool as hell. And I just think it's a no-brainer. It's something that I know a lot of people are split on, where it's like, nah, but like they went to the playoffs 3 times and, you know, 6.5 years. I'm like, I get it. I get it, but that's a team thing. Like, if we're looking at the players, you know, like Melo is one of the best players in franchise history. And again, he remained loyal, and he just embodied the perseverance of New York and all that shit. So that's why I know I said let's keep this shit short. I just realized I just went on a little rant. But I'm looking forward to seeing that number 7 hang in MSG one day. And also,
Mount Rushmore.
Was definitely
Mount Rushmore. And also, last quick thing, nobody else has worn it since Melo left back in 2017. So
For good reason.
That's kind of a good sign. I don't know if that's on the players, just like out of respect, or the front office being like, yo, we just in case, or whatever the deal is. But that's also a pretty cool thing that I think that either the Knicks or the players are doing for Melo. So either way, tomorrow night, man, shit's gonna be special. Mm-hmm. Every time he touches MSG court, like Adam said, it's just a different buzz. I've been back every time that he's been there, and the OKC one was like a little weird, where like there was still some people mad and shit. But Portland last year on New Year's Day, it was fucking guy would take a shit on the court and they'd be cheering the shit out of him. So that shit was cool, man. That shit was cool. But Mac, Adam, I appreciate you both for taking some time out. 48 minutes and counting. I was just like, yo, you guys good to go to 9:30? I don't know if it's gonna go to 9:30, and here we are, almost at 9:30. But before I let both of you guys go, before we end our podcast, we allow our guests to control a narrative. It doesn't have to be Melo related. It doesn't have to be basketball related. It doesn't have to be sports related. So whoever has one, if you just want to.
I got one real quick. So I know we love to talk about Carmelo per se as the player, or he doesn't get enough shine, or he gets, he's gotten the shaft over the years. But I will tell you, because I've just finished the book, where Tomorrow's Never Promised. It is, and I haven't read many player biographies. It is actually really good. I read it cover to cover. It talks a lot about when he was coming up. It's like probably the timeline is from when he was a kid until he got drafted. And even really, I think one of the most interesting things is near the end, and they talk about the whole draft scenario of he thought he was going to Denver and he didn't end up going to Denver and ended up in with the Nuggets. So Detroit, it's a really good book. I recommend it. Any Carmelo fan, any basketball fan probably should read the book and really to even understand his mind state at like 15 years old on how he was on that grind to be the best player in on the high school circle in the U.S. So where Tomorrow's Never Promised. That would be narrative control. So you definitely should read it.
I've been slacking, man. I fucking have had that shit for like 2 months. I haven't even read a single page, so I don't know what the fuck I'm waiting for, but noted. In case I needed another reminder. Thanks, Lana. Adam, you got a narrative you want to control?
Yeah, and of course it's Melo related, But I guess it's just just for the Laker Nation, since he a Laker, I just want to let them know, like, it's okay. It's okay for Melo to be a man, in these, what I'm saying, in some nights, like I get the feeling that that they don't sometimes they don't want to say that Melo brung us home, or Melo won us this game, I just not just the Lakers Nation, like just like the whole team period, like really appreciate him, really appreciate Melo and because he can still give you games. He can win you games, not by himself, but to a point like, damn, you carried us. You carried us in this court, or you took us home thing. So that's what I want to control. I just put that out there. He's still a weapon. He's still deadly, and it's okay. It's okay for Melo to win you a game. It's not a bad. It's not a bad thing. I get the feeling that I read a lot of comments. I'm on Twitter, so I read a lot of comments. Get a lot of hateful comments that some people just be mad, like that he taking this shot, that shot, or it's okay for Melo at his age. They're like, oh, he can't. He's 37. I mean, yeah, he's 37. He's getting buckets. He's still getting buckets. So it's okay for Melo to, for him to win games. It's because he still can do that. That's why they signed him. So that's it. That's about it.
Sure. And last thing is, it's not like we're saying, yo, give Melo the ball, get shots for charity. Like, this dude is shooting fucking 46% from three. It's not like he's out there shooting 36%. We're like, yeah, well, please, like, come on, give him a few shots. Like, no, this fucking guy is shooting 46% from three. Best on the team by far. So, the last thing I want to, because, when people hear that, like, yo, like, give Melo some shots, give Melo some shots, and, like, oh, like, he's not even that good anymore. And then you look at his shooting percentages, and, like, fuck, all right, maybe we shouldn't. It makes sense. So, good point. But
so, Steve, before we wrap up, what happens tomorrow?
Like, who wins?
Yeah.
Who
do we get
for?
27 from Melo and a bing bong? I think that would be utopia. But
when people ask me, like, who do I want to win? I think I want the Knicks to win. And I say this, right? I say this when I go there, and I'm just like, no, I want the Knicks to win. But then, like, I see somebody scoring Melo, or I see Melo miss a shot, and I'm like, fucking, like, nah, fuck that. Like, I want the Blazers to win, or like whatever the case. Like last year, New Year's Day, when it was a close game up to the fourth quarter, and then like Ntilikina, who I love, I know that's gonna get a lot of hate, and like I've talked about my feelings about him before, but he had like a sick dunk that put the Knicks up like fucking 20 in the fourth against the Blazers, and I was pissed, and I was just like, am I really like getting pissed over this right now? So. I think it's going to be an ugly game. I just have a weird feeling it's going to be an ugly game.
Yeah,
I
feel like bad shooting because the Knicks haven't been playing well.
Exactly.
The Lakers are going to be without LeBron, so that's a little luster off the game because
it is.
Why did this have to happen? Like the whole LeBron thing in Detroit have to happen?
You know why?
Day before.
No. You know why?
Yeah, well.
Yeah. LeBron ducked playing in MSG in 2010. It's 2021. 11 years later, he knew. That they were playing at MSG the next game, so he needed to get suspended to not play there. Dude's always ducked playing at MSG. Kidding, by the way. People are gonna be like, "What the fuck are you talking about? He played here 6 times. Like, he averages 34." Like, I'm fucking kidding. Relax. But I think the Lakers pull it out. I do. I just feel like the Knicks they're struggling at fucking home too, and I just feel like obviously the Knicks are this team where. It's almost like reverse home court. It's home court for the other team where it's like, yo, we're playing at the Garden tonight. Like, let's go. And sometimes some of these Knicks, I feel like, take it for granted where they're like, damn, we play here 41 times a year. Like, all right, cool.
But people are juiced to come and play at the Garden. Exactly. Like, it's the Mecca for a reason. So and everyone brings their best to come and play at the Garden. So this is why they're a better road team right now than they are a home team. But, for the Knicks, the schedule is not in their favor. They got, they lost a tough one against Chicago. The schedule is deadly for the next 7 games. So it's we'll see if they can figure out this starting rotation right now because the bench is clearly outplaying them. But that doesn't bode well after all the money they spent and not carefully spent money, but they need more out of Kemba and Evan right now if they're going to do anything come playoff time.
All right, so my official prediction, and again, nobody's going to see this before Wednesday, but I'm going to say Lakers 107, Knicks 102, and I think Melo puts up 24. So I'd love to get your guys' official prediction. I think Melo's going to play well, except for remember last time when MSG didn't have any fans and Melo had like 2 points in MSG? I think it was like 2 or 4 points he scored with the Blazers last game, and I was just like, fuck. So with fans, he feeds off that shit. I think he puts up 24, and the Lakers win by like 5.
And that's the thing with Melo coming to MSG. I just hope he don't get overwhelmed, know. But he should be starting. I think he should start that game. Bron's out.
Shit.
So,
I didn't even think about that. Are they going to announce him?
So I think that he should start that game. So that may do some damage right there if he start rather than coming off the bench. If he's starting, I think Melo will have a big game. I think he have a big game. Scoring wise,
we need points and a final score, Adam. We need that from you right quick.
If Melo starts, I got Melo scoring. I got him scoring 28. I think he can score 28. And I think the final score would be I think it'll be a good game, good close game. I think 90, 98, 101.
Lakers or Knicks?
Lakers 101, Knicks 98.
All right. So Melo's scoring 28 out of the 101 points.
Yes. Yes.
Elmac, final
all right.
prediction.
I'm going to be the homer. Melo gets 17. Knicks win 113-110. They get hot from 3 late in the fourth quarter, and that carries them through.
All right. Well, the game is going to be on TNT. I don't know why I'm saying this because the game's over at this point, but excited for that shit, man. We're going to do a little meetup after the game, so hopefully we get some people coming through. But Elmac, Adam, we need to get you out to MSG one time. I feel like that'll
when
be
the jersey goes up, I would love to be there.
When
That's
the what?
what I'll tell you. When the jersey gets hung in the rafters, I want to be there. So it can't happen this year. Next year, when COVID is hopefully behind us, I want to be there when the jersey goes up. I'm making a point to be there.
I'm gonna clip this, and next year, as soon as the schedule comes up, send it to you. Be like, yo, you remember what you fucking said last year, right? So.
Oh, I know.
Looking forward to it. Elmac, Adam, appreciate you both for being members and taking some time out. It's gonna be a fun game tomorrow night. So
yes, sir.
Enjoy.